Greetings. I'm Annabelle Ford, and I'm with,
Narciso Torres,
Cynthia Ellis.
and we are going to discuss today not just the heroes of the Maya forest, but how the language of the Maya forest can actually help us in both our future sustainability, sovereignty, and our care of the planet. And I'm an archaeologist.
I'm a forest gardener.
And I'm a community activist.
And we work together. We work together at a project what we call Exploring Solutions Past. And my experience, which is not a farmer and more in academia, has dissected in a way that we want to expose here. One of the big problems we're facing with climate change is how to reduce temperature, how to build biodiversity, how to encourage more for soil fertility, not encourage, but actually practice soil, making the soil fertile, conserving water, one of the more important factors, and inhibiting erosion, things that we see around the globe, and especially in the Maya forest and in our country of Belize. To actually engage with these, we need to be able to observe what is happening. We need to have the skills to understand how to address what's happening, and we have to practice it. And I think that these have overarching potentials, both in forest gardening and in people. How do you, I mean, you've been working 40 years with me, and didn't start it.
Well, I see that all those practices and skills and observation is part of the key of making our planet or environment more healthier and more better for all. I guess is we need to try be more loving to Mother Earth, because Mother Earth feed us all, give us everything, but we need to try to make water safety and try to lower the temperature of this climate change, and try to make the earth more fertile, doing it the organically way to preserve water and to stop erosion that is affecting our streams and rivers, and probably the sea too. That maybe have a something that make the sea level rise too, by having erosion going into the sea.
Yeah, that's all critical.
Yes,
how does that help people?
It's very beautiful that we have the opportunity and the blessing to learn from the treasures of the Maya, the ancient Maya, who had these practices long ago and who have addressed the issues of climate change in their own way. For example, as human beings, we can learn from nature recommendations, as our brother gardener, master gardener Alfonso Zul would say, the plants recommend themselves. And so we as people can recommend ourselves in appreciating the wealth untold of the forest, of the trees, of the animals, of everything that has been offered to us that has not been told, wealth untold. And therefore, as we are moving forward in this trio, we need everyone, we need every single plant. And it has something to do with understanding the timing of the recommendation and how to have the discernment or the patience to be able to know that we don't just remove a plant because it is not convenient at a particular time, for example.
Yeah, we have an example of that. I was growing a bunch of Maya forest trees, and I saw an almond tree, which I know is not native to the Maya forest, and I felt that we had too much of it. And I said, we were working together, Narciso and I said, let's take that out. And he said, absolutely, that goes out. But 2 weeks later, it was still there. And I said to Narciso, but it's still there. Not to worry, it comes out easily. And then 2 weeks later, it was still there. Now, this was all happening in the April, May dry season. And finally, when I said it the third time, I mean, it takes me a little while, Narciso gently said, Annabelle, it's the dry season. So what was it doing? What was that plant doing? Why should I be concerned? Why should I observe that it's the dry season? What was happening there?
Well, having the knowledge and skills of watching plants in dry season, I think we need to consider the temperature and we
And fertility.
and then fertility, and plant will conserve water and keep the soil in place, not to have erosion. I guess we have to be more conscious about what time we could get rid of a plant that we don't.
Sorry.
I won't say we don't need them. We need all plants because all plants are doing something great for humanity. For example, turning carbon dioxide into oxygen, and I believe that we need to get more conscious about that part.
What does that story tell you?
I think that the respect, honor, and love for the earth and the wealth untold. Our national motto is under the shade we flourish. And that is a very powerful motto in terms of we as human beings appreciating the importance of trees. I remember one time Dr. Torres and I were at El Pilar, and suddenly he stopped me and he said, wait. Like, what happened? You know? He said, there are cedar trees, seedlings all over in this small area. And he and I sat and we were able to count 750 seedlings. And it
So
is
it was like
so beautiful.
it was like a nursery.
Absolutely. And it was such a beautiful carpet, you know? So as long as we as citizens, as world citizens, appreciate what nature is offering to us, the word poverty does not exist in our lives, you know? So I really appreciate that we can interweave. It's weaving. We are weavers. Weaving in the science from the university, the science from the practitioner, the master forest gardener, citizen scientist, and the science of us as human beings appreciating and loving the way how nature teaches us to love.
Yeah, I think observation is sort of the key. It's both what you're talking about, kindness among people, observing what people need. And it's really something I've learned so much from Narciso, how he observes. When I walk with him at El Pilar, I'm always amazed at just the kinds of things that can show up. I'll pass something and that will be evidence where the Tepesquintly nod was there. One of my most remarkable experience with Narciso's observation is that we were going in a steep downhill with lots of I call it duff, but I don't, it's piles of leaves. And there were these big holes in the leaves as we're going down. And Narciso says the tapir was here. Now, I just thought that that was, an interesting thing. But when we got down to the flat, we disturbed the tapir, and it was like a earthquake. But he already had observed that the tapir was there. Was it a surprise to you that we got in that earthquake?
Yeah, I never had that experience before, but
But you
I knew
anticipate.
that because of the truck that I saw there, I saw that it was very fresh, and I never know that the animals was so close, but it was a surprise for us when we got a little bit closer and the animal start to run and then or start like shaking. It was a great experience for me because I I never saw the animal, but we could hear him running away from
Well, thankfully, he ran away instead of towards us.
yes,
I
exactly.
think that that's a big animal.
It's, quite large.
The
But
respect and the love for nature is very powerful, and I appreciate your presence in water. And we were recently at a gathering where the water and the river was being honored. It's life that is given to us, and as human beings, we give that respect. When we give that respect and love to water, it changes the energy in the environment. And what really touched me in this gathering of the Indigenous People Summit is the reference that we are water, that we as human beings have mostly water
I
in
think we're
us.
90%, something like
Yes,
that.
so it is a beautiful image. And as we have that respect for the need for water and connecting with water, then we take care of the water in
I
the
think that
forest.
one of the kinds of things that we can talk about water in practice is if you want to be in a cool area, you go under the shade of the flora.
Yeah.
If you want to dry your clothes, you don't put them in the shade, you put them in the sun. So
Right.
our natural knowledge tells us where we're going to have lower temperature, more conservation of water, or higher temperature to dry our clothes.
That's right.
I think that we're not talking about things that are mysteries.
Yesterday we went to the Malcolm X Center in Omaha, Nebraska, and we were able to go into a shade, like a sacred space, like what Narciso has at his farm. All I could think about is that special place of shade that has been shaped by the trees. And the rocks were there for us to sit on in the same way. So what I appreciate in this conversation is the global linkages that we have. That this is not just for Belize, it's for the world. How we can appreciate and love nature and love one another.
And I think the way we do that are with the same skills and practice and
Right.
observation that we're
Yes.
that actually becoming a forest gardener and having forest gardens in your backyard, in your ranch, in your spaces will help us in observing what is changing. Like I've
Yes.
heard people talk about how the brook dry, the brook has run dry because they cleared the forest, they cleared the shade around it. And as you say, we need water and the skill to recognize how to pick the right things to remove or to keep. And the practice, very, very important, a practice of kindness, of knowing the earth, and of taking science and interweaving it.
Well, my point of view is about the conserving water and damaging the the banks of streams and rivers or getting rid of trees are not so. For me, it's something that it's hurting the environment and hurting us humans because by getting rid of trees on the banks of rivers or streams, we are causing erosion,
And taking away places for animals to live.
taking away habitat from
The
little
science
animals.
tells us that those places that you're talking about hold 50% of biodiversity of birds. And if you remove that, where do they go?
Yeah, animals are like us. They need a place to live too, because if this earth loses biodiversity, I think we are not going the right way.
Can you bring a wonderful closing?
Yeah, I believe that water biodiversity is all very important for human beings. It affects all of us around the world. And what I love about the work of the Maya Forest gardeners is Narcisso's tenacity not to have chemicals, and because chemicals cause pollution in our water and the food that we eat and drink. And that is what we need to like take care of each other by taking care of the earth and taking care of the forest and loving and embracing our rainforest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.